Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, let's just dive in and let's go all the way back to November of 2022 with the past Ripple Swell event. Back then, we were even talking about tokenization, right? Because tokenization has been a big use case in a blockchain and crypto since going even back before 2020. It's been a big talking subject within crypto for a while, and it is one of the most overlooked use cases up until now, because in 2023, tokenization became a big spotlighted thing. Back in 2022, we got this insight from Ripple. Tokenizing real-world assets is proving to be tremendously valuable to a number of industries because of the inherent transparency and programmability of blockchain technology. Check it out.
The real estate industry is obviously one of the most obvious spaces or industries to bring onto chain. We felt that we could use tokens to exchange value and build a better level of trust in these relationships.
From the perspective of recruiting high value talent for something like building a gigafactory in Nevada, being able to target and cryptographically prove that someone, for example, took a specific class, got a specific grade, participated in a specific club. These have tremendous economic value.
So yeah, everything of value will essentially be tokenized. You've probably heard that saying on this channel many times over. Going all the way back to September 2nd, CryptoID actually posted this. When you see tokenization, there will be countless ways to tokenize assets on a wide variety of platforms and protocols. Ripple is an infrastructure option with some differentiation, with users to plug into additional tools like Liquidity Hub, Custody, the XRP Ledger Decentralized Exchange, Trust Lines, Fast Low-Cost Settlement, and soon an AMM, and so on. This is a clip from a Ripple webinar 2 weeks ago. Tokenization and liquidity. What does this mean for your business?
Last question here, and then we're gonna wrap things up. And this is probably more for Brad. How can Ripple's infrastructure enhance the efficiency and scalability of asset tokenization, especially for global assets like real estate, art, and equity?
Yeah, so Ripple, you can think of two parts of Ripple. So one is the enterprise solutions that we bring to customers today, which again is cross-border payments capability that leverages blockchain for efficiency and on-demand value transfer across borders. Liquidity Hub that enables you to tap in and as a business buy, sell, and hold digital assets. And then we've actually recently as a company acquired Medico, which is a custody provider. So some of those elements that I shared earlier about liquidity, custody, cross-border payments, those are things that Ripple's infrastructure enables. We don't specifically have the solution that's the real estate solution or the art solution or specific types of tokenized assets. But we believe that those core technology capabilities like Liquidity Hub to be able to kind of manage, trading these funds or, in the future, different tokenized assets against crypto, the on and off ramps that come from our payments business. But then coming at it from the other side, Ripple also contributes to open source, particularly XRP Ledger, which has kind of native capabilities for NFTs. Since the beginning of the XRP Ledger over a decade ago, it's had the ability to issue and manage tokens and trust lines that enable how they can be transacted with other parties on the system. And so, I think the way Ripple, our strategy is about to have, enterprise offerings and these core primitives that lets you interact with these capabilities. But for maybe a business or specific use case, you would be leveraging either XRP Ledger or other blockchain technologies that would then plug back into our kind of more standardized enterprise infrastructure.
And, this is one thing that I love to know is like Ripple is a company. Ripple is not XRP. The reason why I put a spotlight on Ripple is because they are trying to become an infrastructure layer around this new world of finance, if you will, right? Like this is the next generation of banking and financial services. And when you look at that, right, like becoming an infrastructure layer is so crucial. There's going to be multiple ones. It's not just going to be Ripple, obviously, but I do think that with Ripple's expertise and their connections, I think that they are going to be a big player, right? For well over a decade, we know that the XRP Ledger and XRP itself has been trusted to do various things, especially in terms of value transfer services, tokenization services, you name it. As we look at that, right, like that's something that you shouldn't overlook because it is such a crucial piece of information to note. For 10 years, over 10 years, the XRP ledger has been, tested. We know how efficient it is. We know how big Ripple is becoming. They have gone all in on custody services, liquidity services, you name it. And this is big, especially in the world of tokenization. As we look at real estate itself, I always bring up real estate because, first off, outside of crypto, real estate is probably one of the most incredible industries out there. A lot of people complain about it in terms of getting priced out of real estate because it is a very hard market to jump into. There's a lot of obstacles, especially cost. Upfront cost is a huge thing. But listen, this is definitely a store of wealth. Real estate could allow you to, put your money to work in probably one of the safest ways possible. Now, of course, when we look at real estate, it's a very hard market. Not a lot of people like to touch real estate simply because of the headaches that come with it. But globally, it is a $300+ trillion market, or at least it was back in 2020. We know that this market has grown tremendously. From 2019, in fact, to 2020, it's seen a 5% increase. And this is most likely going to be a market that will have fluctuations. We will see crashes, then all of a sudden it will bounce back. Like 2008, for an example. We've seen real estate crash in 2008, and then from 2008 onward, it has seen incredible price increases. And we do know, of course, there's a lot of manipulation happening around real estate with BlackRock and all of the other major companies as well. But as we really kind of look at this market, this is most likely going to be one of the first markets that really becomes tokenized. And it's because of the efficiencies locked away behind tokenization that could really kind of usher the real estate market into the new age of technology, but also allow for a lot more adoption to happen around real estate as well, because real estate is a very illiquid asset class, and tokenization actually allows it to become a lot more liquid. You also have the obstacles, the barriers to entry around cost kind of eliminated, because then you could tokenize certain things, right? Like instead of selling an entire apartment complex, well, guess what? Now you could sell pieces of it. So again, there's a lot of opportunity here. And we even see over here from June 23rd, this is the Chief Innovation Officer at MasterCard writing this article, by the way. We do see a tokenized world in the next economy, reimagining money. And the first quote here actually is very, very interesting. So first off, we do see our understanding of money continues to evolve to include more types of assets that can be tokenized, such as loyalty points, data, rights, and new currencies. This digitalization of assets will let people use, combine, and exchange new forms of value, enable new business models, and unleash trillions of dollars in wealth. Emerging use cases could lead to these newly liquid assets serving as payment instruments and enabling the seamless, secure exchange of alternative currencies, physical assets, and even personal data. The impact of tokenization technology is growing fast. JP Morgan has said it will tokenize trillions of dollars in assets and develop related financial services. One study estimated the tokenization market will grow from $2 trillion in 2021 to $27 trillion in 2027. And the World Economic Forum says up to 10% of the global GDP could be stored and transacted on blockchains by 2025. Now, of course, there is challenges here, but nearly 90% of the asset-backed tokenization market represents real estate right now. Once tokenized, property can be divided into small digital shares, just like I said, enabling fractional investments. This gives investors of modest means access to opportunities previously beyond their reach. In real estate, fine art, fine wines, institutional debt, venture capital funds, and more, non-fungible tokens are a novel way to digitize assets and denote ownership of goods, potentially transforming how value is created and exchanged. More than 11 million NFTs exist, and there was $2.6 billion in art sales on NFT platforms as of December of 2022. Hybrid tokens combine elements of payments, utility, and assets in a single unit. For example, a hybrid token for a cloud service could let users pay fees, access cloud storage, and even vote on these service providers' licenses or policies. And again, right, like as we really kind of look at this, I want you all to understand that this is where real value comes into place, right? A lot of people question, like, how is tokenization going to even, bring in any value for XRP, for an example? It's very simple, right? Like, if we actually look at the values behind XRP, or even when we look at Ripple, right, like what Ripple is doing, if Ripple is going to tokenize certain things, how are they going to tokenize it, right? Well, they're going to tap into the XRP ledger, just like he said in this video. This is Brad Chase, right? And if we're doing that, right, like you also have tokenization services around transacting as well. How are you going to transact with tokenized assets? How are you going to move them? Well, I know a way. XRP. When we look at trillions of dollars coming on chain or onto these networks, right? There's going to be a large amount of demand. When we look at that, right, like this is going to be a great way of having a ton of money flowing through these networks. It's also going to make the network a lot more valuable. I also believe that when we look at XRP, I do think that XRP is going to benefit greatly in a tokenized society. And when we look at that, right, like over here, there was an article written back in August. Now, of course, I don't really believe in the idea of like, you know, major price predictions around this, but we do see Ripple XRP aims to drive trillions of dollars in global asset tokenization via extensive partnerships and cutting edge tech. Real world asset tokenization is expected to shape a $16 trillion industry by 2030, offering unprecedented liquidity and market accessibility. You also have custody, right? Like custody services by 2030 is expected to reach $10 trillion. Like crypto custody services. And we know that Ripple is tapping into both of these areas. A staggering 80% of respondents in Ripple's 2023 New Value Report believe tokenization will drastically impact trading of assets, real estate, and carbon credits. Like, when we look at this, right, this is a big deal. Now, obviously, when we look at this as well, are we talking about higher prices for XRP immediately? No, this will happen over time. But one of the biggest markets to be tokenized that has been brought up in conversation is derivatives as well. Imagine $600 trillion being tokenized. Like, that would be absolutely massive. And this is what I'm talking, like, this is why I talk about, you know, tokenization so heavily on this channel, is because, like, as we really kind of look at what's happening around this space, I've said it many times in the past, we will see very large institutions tapping in to tokenization services. And even when we go over here to the top 12 asset tokenization platforms of 2023, Securitize is number one. When you look at Securitize, right, they already tapped in with SBI back in October of 2022 as well. SBI Digital Markets and Securitize partner on Singapore-based digital asset marketplace. This is to meet surging institutional demand for digital assets. And we already know that Ripple has been working closely with SBI, and there's already major connections with Securitize and Ripple as well. This is why I pay attention to things happening around a few of these players. And I've already broken down Securitize in the past with Ripple. This is a company to watch for. And again, like, institutional demand is there. Institutional demand was there back in 2022. And institutions have been playing a key role in this space. Also on this list, if you scroll down, is PolySign. PolySign is a key player as well. And guess what? You need to focus on PolySign, because I do believe that this is also going to have direct connections back to possibly Ripple and possibly even XRP. And the reason why I say that is because look at some of the names tied to this. You have David Schwartz here. You have Antoinette O'Gorman, which is also a previous CCO at Ripple. And then, of course, you have Arthur Brito on here. And when you look at some of these names, like, these are not, you know, these are not small names in this space. And when we look at what PolySign is, this is building the future of digital assets. PolySign develops state-of-the-art, secure, scalable infrastructure for financial institutions to fully leverage their digital assets. Like, it could never be more clear that institutions will be heavily adopting this technology, and they're already starting to. But we haven't seen mass institutional adoption just yet. We haven't. We've started to see slowly but surely some of them jumping in, but not mass adoption just yet. This is why I say the opportunity out there for a lot of these major networks and a lot of these major companies that are already connecting the dots with some of the biggest names out there. Like, for an example, Ripple. Like, a lot of people are looking at the short term. Like, Ripple chose XRP, and they chose to leverage XRP since going all the way back to 2012. All right. Now, mind you, it's been well over a decade. And when we think about that, think about all the connections that Ripple has created in the last decade as well. Like, when we look at Ripple, they are a giant. They are a private-based company that is very transparent with the public, by the way. But they have been amassing a massive network of networks, if you will, of institutions, major enterprises, banks, even fintech companies. Like, Ripple is an umbrella of a massive network of giants around the financial sector. Now, that's good to note considering the fact that Ripple is heavily focused on crypto solutions and crypto adoption. So when we look at Ripple, I do think that they are going to be a major gateway to institutional grade adoption. And them, again, exposing XRP to all of these players. I'm not looking at it as a value thing, right? Like, I'm not expecting Ripple to drive value for XRP, but I do believe that Ripple might actually expand institutional grade adoption of XRP simply because of the major connections that Ripple does have, and they created in the last decade. So with that in mind, yes, I do think that we should heavily focus on tokenization because I do think that this is going to be incredible network effects. I mean, you got to think about it like this, right? You have tokenization as a service, which is going to disrupt hundreds of trillions of dollars. Then you have custody services. Then you have the XRP ledger use cases. Then you have cross-border payments with on-demand liquidity. Like, all of this is a massive network effect. And it's going to take some time. Listen, we're still very early. I want you guys to understand that we are in the infancy of this market yet. So yes, I don't think that we should be expecting anything to happen overnight. This is not a space where you invest on Monday and you sell by Friday, right? Like, unless you are gambling with meme coins, that is not how this market works. When you're talking about utility tokens that are going to ultimately change the way the financial world works, you are going to invest on Monday, and it might be a year, it might be 2 years, it does not matter. Unless you are thinking short term, it does not matter. I've always brought up the Amazon idea. Amazon did not see incredible growth right out of the gate. It took time. This market is still in its infancy. We are not even focused on utility yet. This market is still tied to Bitcoin. Imagine a world where XRP is not underpinned by Bitcoin, right? We went through 2.5 years of hell of the SEC suppressing XRP's price action, and we got out of it. Soon we will get out of a Bitcoin-driven market, and utility will be unleashed. Once utility and XRP is fully unleashed, and it's by itself, there's no question on how high it could go. We've seen $20 price predictions. We've seen $100 price predictions. We've seen $1,000 price predictions for XRP. There is no telling how high XRP could go. No one is going to be able to tell you that. Nobody is going to be able to tell you that accurately because a lot of people still believe in the idea of market cap. Market cap means nothing when you are tokenizing $300 trillion asset classes. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this world. It's been Nick. Peace out, guys.